Well, I'm sure many people have seen and heard about last week's game at Narre Warren, of course. Narre Warren, the premiers from the Casey Cardinia division in the Mornington Peninsula Nepean Footy League, took on the premiers from the Eastern Footy League, Noble Park. And, well, that was a big game in itself, but, boys, there was an extra added incentive for people to get down there and watch. Of course, we know Brendan Fevola took the field for Narre Warren, and there he is running out onto the ground with his newfound teammates. Of course, Brendan Fevola, a former junior player down at Narre Warren Footy Club. His old man's a member down there, and plenty of support down there at Narre Warren. Look at that big crowd.
Well, it looks like a finals crowd, Kev.
Yeah, well, they've got cars ringing the ground, and that club room side is chock-a-block. They were 5, 6, 7 deep in parts. And, a really good crowd, a really good atmosphere down there, Benny.
And half of that was media.
Yes. I was just going to say that. How'd you get a spot there on the fence, Kev?
Well, have a look at this. The big the cameras, the reporters all dolled up with their makeup on, the big tripods, the big cameras. But we don't just go to local footy show when there's local footy when there's something big happening, Benny. We're out there every week. Don't worry about that. Not like these Johnny-come-latelys who wouldn't know the difference between, a half-cold meat pie and kicking with the wind in the last quarter. So
you took the trailer with a satellite dish in it?
My 93 Ford Fairmont gear didn't quite match up to the satellite OB trucks, but I did my best and I got in there amongst it. But as I said, good crowd. Brendan Fevola started early, kicked 2 goals. There he is running in and kicking his first. And look, it was just a good feel and a good day. And I must say, I think Brendan himself has copped a bit of bad press about getting involved in wrestling. I thought his effort on Saturday, I'm not going to talk about the rest of the stuff, but on Saturday, his effort for local footy was fantastic. He didn't say no to a kid who wanted an autograph. He's fantastic with his teammates. Obviously fantastic for the Narre Warren Footy Club because they got a lot of support. They would have made a lot of money.
What about the wrestling though, Kev? Well, that was what was hyped up.
And see, that's the difference. These other reporters who only ever watch AFL footy don't know that, wrestling occasionally does happen in local footy, at hundreds of different games throughout the week, and there was nothing different about last week's game than what we would see at local footy just about every week. There was no king hits, there was no punches, there was a bit of wrestling, a bit of push and shove, nothing serious, boys flying the flag and looking after their teammates. To suggest he did anything untoward is just ridiculous and wrong. And there was nothing in it. Both teams were pretty, good at the end, although a little bit disappointing, a little bit controversially. One of the Noble Park players refused to shake Brendan Fevola's hand, and I thought that was a bit disappointing. I didn't think it was within the spirit of the day. But
it was a practice match, Kev.
It was.
The hyping up affects different people differently, doesn't it?
It does, and I wouldn't hold anything against the guy. Maybe he would have done something differently had it happened again. But as I said, I couldn't, fault Brendan's performance with the club, and I thought, his effort to promote local footy like we try and do was fantastic, and a lot more people know about local footy after last week's game. But quite a few people there, coaches from both sides. I caught up with a bit of the colour and the action from last week's game.
Better hope he kicks less than 8 on you.
Kim, a big year last year because you won the flag, but you couldn't have a bigger start. It's not even round 1 yet, and you've got thousands of people out here.
Absolutely, I mean, it's just amazing how Mr. Fevola can present us with such a massive crowd. Although Noble Park, obviously, who we're playing, won the UDFL final last year, so we were expecting a reasonable crowd, but nothing like this. And obviously, someone asked me 2 or 3 weeks ago whether we'd have Brendan Fevola playing for us. Was I would say, pigs might fly, so to speak. But it's really good.
Fair to say, though, that I think Brendan's been pretty keen to come back and play footy with Narre at some stage. I get the feeling that if he really enjoys himself, Narre could be a home for a long time to come.
Well, absolutely. Obviously, he played all his footy, or the majority of his junior footy at the Narre Junior Footy Club. And obviously his father being a member and a past player, it's good that Brendan can come back and at least have a couple of senior games. But we're hoping that once he gets fit again over the next 2 or 3 weeks, he's back at the Scorpions and hopefully back into the big time again.
How much preparation is today involved? Normally for a practice match you wouldn't have to do much, but you've been pretty busy today.
Absolutely. Obviously the canteen staff have been run off their feet, and look, I mean, it's obviously been a practice match. We are going to have to be doing a bit of practicing ourselves on. Obviously we got Berwick first game, which hopefully we can get a reasonable crowd again. So a few little issues, but we'll sort those out.
And you're expecting Brendan to play round one against your old enemies in Berry?
Absolutely. He's on a training program with the Scorpions, and he'll train again with us next Thursday night. Although we have the bye, it won't be the start of the following week, and yes, he's going to play that first game. Then after Easter, I think he goes back to the Scorpions and they reassess him, and well, I mean, hopefully he goes on to there soon as well, but if not, we'll certainly have him for the next week at the Cranbourne game.
Today, obviously, it's like the final out here at Narre Warren for a practice match. That's probably good for your footy club, though. It gives the boys probably a bit more extra motivation, enthusiasm in today's game.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not very often in a practice game you come out, it's a carnival atmosphere and there's a lot of people, and obviously interests are obvious, but look, we'll just get out there and use this as a final tune-up for our season next week, and the boys will enjoy the experience.
And Brendan Fevola, I wouldn't imagine you're going to put 3 blokes on him. You're just going to play man on man and see how he goes?
Look, I hope Fev has a terrific day. I really do. Obviously, we're not going to worry about, as you said, 3-man and all those sorts of things. I just hope he has a terrific day and enjoys his footy.
Obviously, plenty of people down here watching Brendan Fevola play for you today. Do you think that helps your boys just get their enthusiasm and motivation up a bit today?
Oh, look, this group's a pretty tight-knit group, and I don't, look, there's a lot of people here, that's for sure, but I don't necessarily think that, Brendan heightens their enthusiasm. They're there to play, and it wouldn't matter who we're playing against, they'll give their best every single time.
How's Brendan Fevola fitted into the side? I think the boys would obviously really appreciate playing with him.
Yeah, look, excited. That's not very often they get to play with a player that won a Coleman medal, I think, 2 years ago, and we had 4 or 5 17-year-olds out there today, and they'll probably never get that opportunity again. So, from their perspective, it's a great learning curve, and I'm sure that they'll appreciate the experience.
And how do your coaching staff go about it? For you, obviously, there's probably not much you can teach Fev about how to play footy, but it's perhaps about how you can best assist him going forward with his footy in the future.
Look, this is only a pit stop for Brendan. He's only here for a period of weeks during the course of the season, whether it be 2, 3 or 4. I'm not overly sure, but I'm sure of one thing, that we're just here to help him do his absolute best to get back to where he believes he should be.